Welcome to another episode of Tech Talk. Tech Talk is here to discover inspiring stories of student achievement, applaud the educators that help get them there, and collectively work towards building a better community. Join us now for some truly captivating conversations. Welcome to another episode of Tech Talk. Tech Talk is here to discover inspiring stories of student achievement, applaud the educators that help get them there, and collectively work towards building a better community. In this episode, we will talk to Mr. Pierce and Kelsey to learn about what it's like to be a teacher and a student in our Project Lead the Way Biomedical Science program at LTCC. We will also see if Kelsey, the student, becomes the teacher in a classic game of Tech Talk Jeopardy. Now it's time to welcome Mr. Pierce to Tech Talk. He is here to tell us what it's like to be teaching in the biomedical program in the Tech Center. Dalton, hello. Thanks for joining us today.
Oh, it's a pleasure.
Dalton, you've been teaching at the Tech Center for 7 years, and specifically you teach in the PLTW Biomedical Science program. So what is the Biomedical Science program for Project Lead the Way, and what has been your experiences of being a teacher in the Tech Center?
So the Project Lead the Way Biomedical Sciences program, we started it in 2015. It was really a vision for Keith Davis, one of our former directors. And at the time, I was graduating from college, and honestly, I just wanted a job. And he approached me about, well, what do you think of starting this brand new program from scratch? And he told me a little bit about it, and I was like, yeah, that sounds cool. I don't know. I really want a job. I wanted to teach here. I was already coaching here, and I wanted to stay here. This is kind of my home. And so when I got into it and started really researching it, I found that this program was really, really awesome. It takes a lot of what kids like in the field of science, which is doing labs, doing hands-on stuff. And that's pretty much what the majority of the program is. It takes those real-world skills that kids are going to see if they choose to take that path, that biomedical sciences path, and they get to do them in class, which is really, really cool, and they really like that. And the other thing that's neat about it, too, and I didn't really realize this until I got into it, is the biomedical world is so huge. It's so broad, and there's this misconception that, well, biomedical sciences, I don't really want to be a doctor or a nurse, so I'm not going to take that program. But the reality is that the biomedical sciences world is more than just a doctor and nurse. There's forensics, and there's research, and there's all types of careers that fall into it that kids don't even realize until they get into the program, and then they're like, oh, wow, this is biomedical sciences. Cool. So,
and then this is made of several courses, right?
Yes, it's made up of 4 courses. So it starts with Principles of Biomedical Sciences, which is sometimes considered like the freshman level course, but anybody can take it and you can start at any time. But in that course, it's very broad. We cover a lot of different areas. Again, the biomedical sciences world is really broad. And so there's a forensics unit, but then there's also a clinical care unit. So there's more of the doctor-nurse stuff in that unit, but the forensics unit is all about a medical investigation. And so they get to see that true crime world, so to speak. But then there's a research unit, and then there's an emergency care unit. And so learning about working in the emergency field, whether it be as an EMT, but also emergency management operations and handling crisis and stuff like that. That is in there as well. So that first course, you get kind of the big picture. This is the biomedical world. And then the remaining courses just kind of get tighter and tighter and narrow in on stuff. Now, you still get to explore in each one of those courses. The next one, human body systems, is really an anatomy and physiology class with the sprinkle of the Project Lead the Way career stuff into it. And then you have medical interventions where you get to explore kind of the medical world and medical research. And then the capstone class, the biomedical innovations, you get to take all of that as a senior, everything you've learned in those courses, and apply it to some real world problems that scientists are trying to solve in the biomed world.
Excellent. That explains the crime scene we've had in our hallway now.
Yes.
I asked teachers and students earlier in the year if you were to give me 3 words that explain the Tech Center to you. You gave the 3 words of engaging, relevant, and inspirational. Can you expand upon why you chose those 3?
Yeah, so the first thing I think of when I think of the Tech Center is engaging, just because when the kids are in our building, and I don't just see it in my program, I see it in all the programs, our kids are engaged because what they're doing is relevant. It leads to really the second word I picked, which is relevant. All the stuff that we do, like I'll use my program as an example, the biomed program, they learn how to draw blood in the program. They learn how to apply a tourniquet. They learn how to take blood pressure, and it's sprinkled throughout the different courses. But all of those things are real world things that a lot of the kids have either know about or have seen, and they know it's an actual skill. It's relevant to them. And it's engaging because they get to actually do it. They get to try it, and they really like that. And then I picked inspirational because these kids, we get them down here and they find their passion. They find what they are really wanting to do when they leave high school, because they know that this time is fleeting and they're not going to be here very long, and then it's going to be lifetime, and they're going to have to figure stuff out. And it gives them an opportunity to really find that passion before they get out of here and set them up for success to kind of pursue it. And I see that in all of our programs down here. Kids get excited about what they're doing because they're engaged in relevant stuff to what they really like, what inspires them. And I'm not saying that our kids aren't engaged in other classes either, because they are, but for us it's easier to take what we do in our programs and really show the relevance to their kids, because they actually start working on a car, or they start working taking somebody's blood pressure with a blood pressure cuff and everything else, and they're like, oh yeah, I've seen a nurse, I've seen a doctor do this, I've had this done, or I've seen somebody work on a car and actually do these things. This is something that I really want to do and I'm passionate about.
Excellent. Teaching is probably one of the most challenging, but one of the most rewarding professions we can go into. So my question is, what brings you joy in teaching?
I would say just seeing the kids light up about learning something new and finding their passion, figuring out what their dreams are and figuring out a way to kind of make them happen. I tell my students that I got it easy. My dream was to coach and teach. That was my dream, and so I get to live that out every day. I always use the example of my dad, because I love my dad, and he worked really hard for me and my sister when we were younger, and he worked in a factory his whole life, and there's nothing wrong with that. But I know that's not what my dad wanted to do. He didn't want to do that, and so everything that he did for me and my sister was to set us up, and he would remind us, look, I don't want you to do this. I want you to find something that you really like, so that you can wake up every day and go to work and be excited about going to work. Because he definitely wasn't pumped to go to work every day doing the same thing over and over again. And again, there's nothing wrong with that, because for some people that's what they want to do. But for my dad it wasn't, but he did what he could for me and my sister at the time. And so I tell my students, I get to live my dream. I show up, I get to teach, I get to coach. This is what I want to do. And so being able to help them find what their dream is, what their inspiration is, and get to see that kind of light up and they really get connected into something, it's pretty awesome. It's a pretty awesome feeling.
It's CTE month, the entire month of February, so CTE's Career and Technical Education. And within that, we have programs or student organizations that our students participate in. You have one called HOSA, H-O-S-A. Can you talk to a little bit more about what that is and what students might experience?
Yeah, so HOSA stands for Health Occupation Students of America, and it's a relatively new organization compared to some of the ones people might be more familiar with. Like, I know a lot of people, particularly in our neck of the woods, you say FFA, well, they know what FFA is. They know FFA is Future Farmers of America. It's been around for a very long time. HOSA hasn't been around as long, but it has exploded and it continues to grow, and it allows opportunities for the students in the biomed program to extend what they're learning outside of the classroom. Some of the ways that they get to do that is, one of the big ones is competitions. So we have a state conference every year, and at that state conference, they can participate in different competitions. And what's neat about those is we have so much stuff that we cover in the biomed program, and we may do something that somebody gets passionate about that they really like, but then we've got to move on to the next thing, right? Whereas with HOSA, there's different avenues where they can kind of pursue that passion outside of the regular class time. Kelsey, who you're going to talk to here in a minute, she did pharmacy science as one of the competitions in HOSA. And we hit on some pharmacy stuff in the biomed program in HBS and a little bit in PBS, but we don't spend all this, all school year on it. Right. And so it allows students like her to pursue something outside of the class time. And when we go to those state conferences, or if we go to any of the other HOSA events, and when we have HOSA meetings, it allows them to network and meet people who might be able to help them down the road. They get scholarship opportunities that are only available to students that are a part of HOSA. And so it's really fun. It continues to grow and evolve. And what's nice is, like all of our CTSOs, it's student-led organization. And so we will only go, I tell the HOSA kids, like, we're only going to do and go as far as you guys want this thing to go. Right. Like me and Mr. Sly, we kind of guide them, but for the most part, it's up to them to make the decisions on what they want it to be. And so it gives them a chance to be leaders and learn leadership skills and learn other dispositions like responsibility and stuff like that.
I love hearing that. It sounds like a great organization. All right, a question to get to know Mr. Pierce. If you had to eat one meal for the rest of your life, only one, what will it be?
Oh, I don't know. This is pretty easy. If I could only eat one meal, it would have to be fried crappie or walleye, fried fish with some fried taters and a little cornbread and some mac and cheese, and throw a veggie in there. I don't know, green beans, something like that. So that meal, that was a staple growing up. So I mentioned my dad earlier. My dad basically raised me and my sister for a good chunk of my childhood, and we had certain things that we ate, every night to make it easy, because he had to do stuff. And I hunted and fished growing up, and I still do. And we fished a lot, and we had a lot of crappie and a lot of other fish, and that was at least one night a week. We had fried fish and fried potatoes and mac and cheese and a veggie and cornbread, and so I could eat that probably the rest of my life and be all right.
I think I could do the mac and cheese. I don't know about you, Kelsey.
No.
You guys need to eat some walleye, because I'm telling you, it's good.
All right. What is one question you wish that I would have asked you, and how would you have answered it?
Oh, man. One question. Not sure. I don't know. I think, some of the, I think of like a fun question. Like sometimes you'll see in stuff like this, they'll ask like, who is a person that you wish you could like sit down and have a conversation with, dead or alive, doesn't matter. Like, who's somebody you'd want to talk to. And man, I've thought about that before too, and different people in my life and different people I've seen, and I don't even know how. That's a fun question, but I don't even know how I would answer that. I mean, maybe I guess since I'm in the Marine Corps and it's been such a long time since we've had a major conflict or anything, maybe I would want to talk to like Chesty Puller, I guess. He was a very famous Marine, and like every Marine knows who Chesty Puller is, and maybe sit down and talk to him and see what advice he could give on somebody in today's world with all the stuff going on and everything else, how he would. I'd be interested to see how he would view the Marine Corps and the world today based on how it was when he served before World War II he also served in World War II, and he served during the Korean War too. So it'd be interesting to get his perspective on stuff.
That's a great one. Well, Mr. Pierce, thank you for all that you do for our students and our community and your service to our country. I appreciate you, and it's been a blessing just to get to watch you engage with your students and connect them to their future profession, ultimately.
Thank you.
Coming up next, we have Kelsey. Kelsey's a junior and a student of Mr. Pierce, and we have a couple of questions for her to answer. All right, Kelsey. How do you spend your time as a student? What's life like as being a student in the tech center and the high school?
I spend my time trying to learn as best I can, and I want to learn, like, everything. And I try to apply the knowledge of what I learned to see what I want to do when I get out of high school.
Excellent. Do you enjoy doing the experiences and the projects with Mr. Pierce?
Oh, for sure.
What's been like your favorite one?
I really like what we've been doing now. We've been looking at cancer cells to see like if they're cancerous or not, and I really like working with microscopes, so that's fun.
Nice. You gave us 3 words too to talk about the tech center, to help describe the tech center, and you said caring, engaging, and fun. What do those 3 words mean to you?
So first, caring. I feel like the teachers here try to get to know you, and they actually care about your well-being and like what you're gonna do after school. And then I said engaging because everything's hands-on. Like even the stuff we learn, it always relates to some sort of lab or something we can actually like do in class. And then I said fun, which is also kind of the hands-on stuff because I just like doing stuff instead of just reading.
Right. It's always good to be able to apply what we learn and find relevancy, the connection of why we have to learn this. I always like to ask students, do you see the relevancy in your learning? And I really don't have to hear the, why am I learning this? Why are we doing this? Because they instantly know this is what I want to do. And as you said earlier, based upon their passions and interests, like we want all kids to know where they want to be immediately after graduation. So what made you interested in the healthcare or PLTW bio world?
So I've always been interested in science and like pretty good at it. So I thought a health career could be good for me, and I want to be able to help people. So I was like, biomed class, that worked.
What are your goals after graduation?
I want to go to college.
Uh-huh.
And then I want to go to med school.
Yes.
And I want to be a pathologist.
Excellent. Mr. Pierce is right here. If you got to tell him thank you, what would you say to him?
I would say thank you for, like, even though I thought I wanted to be an engineer for a while, you still supported that, and that was helpful, but I found I don't want to do that. So it's good I'm still in the biomed classes.
Yeah, thank you. Appreciate it.
All right, Kelsey, same question to get to know Kelsey. If you could only eat one meal for the rest of your life, what's it going to be?
Chicken tenders with ranch, fries, and a Dr. Pepper.
Now that I can relate to. I get that.
I mean, that's pretty good too.
Yeah, can't go wrong with ranch. I mean, ranch like goes on just about anything.
Yeah. Oh yeah, just ask Coach Allen. You guys ever get a chance to talk to Coach Allen? He puts ranch on everything.
You know, I was probably in college before I first even tried ranch.
Wow.
I was the picky eater growing up. Chef salad, just salad, cheese, and ham for elementary school lunch.
Like dry?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
I was a slow learner with what was available to eat. All right, Kelsey, final question. What's one question you wish I would have asked you, and how would you answer it?
You could have asked what my favorite animal is.
Excellent. What is your favorite animal?
A cat. I love cats.
Cats. I did not know this about you.
Yeah. They're my favorite.
Any specific kind or just all cats?
All cats, except the hairless ones. I don't like those.
Not a cat guy.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Got dogs.
I got some of those. All right, Kelsey, thank you for joining us today. Now it's time to see if you get to best your teacher in a game of Tech Talk Jeopardy. We have 3 categories, ending in E, sports ball, and LTCC and CTE.
I'm going to do sports ball.
Sports ball. All right, buzzers ready? Answer. This game dates back to 12th century France when it... Oh, Mr. Pierce.
What is tennis?
Wow. How? So full answer. This game dates back to 12th century France when it was played in the form of a handball game called Palm. I did not know that. So great answer, Mr. Pierce.
Just like French tennis. Yeah, that sounds about right.
Let's see. All right, Mr. Pierce, which category would you like?
We'll do LTCC and CTE.
Okay.
For 100.
For 100. All right. Answer. This student organization is for future health professionals. Kelsey.
HOSA.
HOSA.
Oh,
What
yeah.
is HOSA? Very good. All right, Kelsey.
I'm doing an E for 100.
Ending in E for 100. Answer. You use this book to look up the definition of a word. Mr. Pierce.
Encyclopedia.
I'm afraid that's wrong. Kelsey, would you like an answer?
No.
What is a dictionary? E.
Oh, okay. All right. I've got it.
All right, Kelsey.
I've got it now. Okay.
Why don't you try again?
Sports ball for 200.
Sports ball for 200. Your answer. In 2022, this sport was adopted as the official state sport of Washington. This is a pretty new one.
I'm trying to think. Washington.
Hmm?
I have
All right. What is
pickleball.
pickleball?
Pickleball.
All right, Kelsey.
Okay. LTCC and CTE for 200.
200. All right. Answer. The number of programs offered at LTCC. Mr. Pierce.
Is it 11? 11?
What is 11? All right. All right, Mr. Pierce.
Let's do ending in E for 200.
All right. Answer. This is worn by student athletes on the court. Mr. Pierce.
What is a jersey?
Got it. What is a jersey?
I've got this figured out.
All right.
Let's do ending in E for 300.
300. All right. Answer. What happens when you're late for class? Kelsey.
Tardy.
Tardy. Yeah. All right, Kelsey. 2 left.
Sports ball for 300.
Sports ball for 300. Answer. This sport has a move called the Ernie. Mr. Pierce.
What is bowling?
Bowling? I'm afraid that's the wrong answer.
Basketball.
Answer. What is pickleball?
Oh, gosh.
See a pattern there. All right. Final answer. LTCC CTE for 300. Annually, this month is celebrated for Career Tech Ed. Kelsey.
February.
February. Perfect. All right. Now that moves us to Final Jeopardy. I think we're probably pretty close to a tie right now. We'll call it a tie. I don't know. Everybody wins. Okay. Your Final Jeopardy question. These are considered part of the skeletal bone system, but are not counted as bones. These are considered part of the skeleton bone system, but are not counted as bones. Have your answers? All right. For 50,000 points.
Oh.
Yeah.
I bet all my points. I don't know how many I have. I just bet them all.
All right, Mr. Pierce.
I said, what are teeth?
What are teeth is correct, and he wins all points. Kelsey, teeth is correct and wins all points. All right, everybody's a winner today.
All right.
Super job. That was a blast. All right, so I hope you had fun.
Oh, yeah.
With this, and thank you, Mr. Pierce and Kelsey, for being here today. It was a pleasure just to learn more about you and celebrate the great things you're doing as students and as teachers and everything in our building and in our community. Thanks for listening to Tech Talk. If you enjoyed today's podcast, you can find more episodes and see the learning taking place in our building and on our Facebook page at facebook.com/Lebanon Technology Career Center or on YouTube at youtube.com/@Lebanon Tech. Stay tuned for our next episode. Mr. Goodwin returns and it introduces us to Jordan. Jordan is a junior in our welding technology program and is going to try to teach me how to weld right here. So we'll see how that goes.